Welcome to another episode of That Crazy Triangle Guy. As we're sitting here watching the market digest the latest CPI data, which came out just over 2 hours ago. And it came out pretty much spot on as predicted, which is neither great nor horrible, just is what it is. And I think everybody's pretty comfortable with that. Anyway, that's what it looks like. See what the that other market is doing. Yeah. So we're here on the 5 minute chart anyway, and this is my favorite chart. 5 minute chart. That's where all the action is. Of course, a 1 minute chart watcher might think this is pretty boring, but I like it. And I want to point out something while we're here. This dashed line that I have, and how the price action seems to be aware that that line is there. It's got some interaction with it. Seems to be going up and down around it right now. And you can see that it was resistance here and support back here. Definitely. I think it's pretty obvious. Um, anyway, more about that later. You might have been able to tell by the poor quality and unprofessionalism that this is the premiere episode of That Crazy Triangle Guy. I draw triangles, trend lines, use price channels and other indicators to some extent to try to predict the future price of Bitcoin, as well as other altcoins in the crypto space here. But I'll be clear about one thing: I cannot predict the future, nor can anyone else in this space using various indicators and colors and dots and squiggly lines and bits of information, and especially none of the guys on the financial news channels. Those guys definitely all have agendas. So be careful what you do with the information you receive. Do your own research. Use this information that I am providing merely as one of many tools in your arsenal. However, I do believe that the information I provide can be very insightful. Um, However, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This channel is for entertainment purposes only, and I hope I can thoroughly entertain you in the months and years to come. So let's get into it. Uh, as I've been doing many retakes in the past half hour or so, Bitcoin has moved around. Here we are on the daily chart. We actually got away from that dashed line I was talking about and come all the way down to this other dashed line and this trend line that I've drawn. Let's blow it up a little bit. And you can see that we clearly use that as support. Came down to the bottom of this channel, which, by the way, I call this the escalator channel, and this one is the elevator channel. If I zoom out here, the escalator channel is relatively short-lived. It started back here in, I believe, the end of January. Yes, it started here at the end of January after we pumped up in the first part of the year. And as you can see, a lot of the action flows in this channel here, in and around this channel. The escalator or the elevator channel, which is much steeper. Goes all the way back to when our good old buddy SBF tanked the whole market with his shenanigans. Anyway, the escalator channel started back in the beginning of November, and we were following in it from November 20th all the way through mid-December. We fell out of it, and then so I drew this channel back here and simply extended it. And what did we do? We came back into it here. We used it as support here, fell back into it, slipped out. And when we slipped out, you can see we fell big through it. And then we went back in, we went in big, stayed in it, and have fallen back out. I forget what this was, but people just weren't feeling it then, back in mid-March, the beginning of March. Maybe it was CPI data that we had here. Everybody's worried about inflation. I think there was a lot of FUD being spread. And as well, news of the SEC cracking down on crypto and all that jazz. Anyway, people quickly forgot about it and came back up into our escalator and elevator channels where we're at today. We've just recently had a consolidation here in this triangle. Let me make this bigger. Now this is on a daily chart, but when I made these, I was using a 5-minute chart and an hourly chart. You get a lot more contact points that way, but you can clearly see consolidation in this ascending triangle here. And what happened? We broke out. Now, if you take this arrow, which is the target that I predict we will come up here. We just had the CPI numbers right here today. We broke out in anticipation of that, I suppose. But I do predict we will head back up to the top of this new triangle where the target is, using this trend line as a base of the triangle, and bounce up and down around here. What is that? Is that 32, just over $32,000, and you can see that clearly we did come down today and bounce off of this support here. So I think we will consolidate all the way up into, now let me tell you what these lines, these vertical lines are. This purple one is the next FOMC meeting on which ends May 3rd, May 2nd and 3rd. And the blue line here is the next CPI data release. I suppose in here we'll have the PCE numbers, but they basically, we already know what they're going to be. They're just about the same as the CPI numbers. And then here, this yellow line is the price target from this triangle. So that is my future prediction for Bitcoin. Not to say that we may break out of here, like I'll show you something in a second, which we did previously, and we may go above this, but I think most of the price action will be in this triangle and get us up to here, around $35,000. And I may be getting ahead of myself, but at some point I do see a correction, and I will show you what I think about that later on. First, let me show you just how all this works. So here, why I believe that this is where we're going. I didn't mean to, you know what, let's just get rid of these We don't need these moving averages for now. Here you go. Bye-bye. Um, let me get a trend line. And you can't really tell, but we do have another triangle in here. All right, so here we are. Let me get a, no, I don't want an arrow. I want a trend line. Let's get a trend line. Let us make the base of our triangle from about here up through there. No. Where do I want to go? Maybe something like that. And here, it's an easy way to get another line is to clone that. And we can just move this one up here. I did this before the hourly chart. That looks about right. We have contact there, here, 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 all these points. Now let's see. Get an arrow. I'm using cleaner charts now. Should see my other charts so you can't even see the candles. They're all covered in lines. Okay, well, line is a little bit crooked. But anyway, we should be able to get a rough estimate. That gave us this target right here. And look at that. We hit it perfectly. That's why I believe we'll hit this perfectly. And that's why I believe we'll hit this perfectly at 35,000 and probably still continue to follow. This is the base of the triangle. Yeah, so we could be up to 35,000 by early May. Well, with these, the FOMC meeting and the CPI numbers, I don't know. These are triangles. Triangles can break either way. So if we get horrible, horrible news here, you could just come back down. We could come back down this distance, possibly. Let me take my arrow. If we get horrible CPI data, maybe a good FOMC and come up this way, but then later get horrible CPI data, we could come back down to our around this area, around 28,800. That makes a lot of sense, but we're getting ahead of ourselves here. We haven't even come up into we haven't even consolidated in this triangle yet. So, we could be up here at 35,000 in early May. Anyway, while we're here, I want to go back to this area and show you why have been really inspired to share the information I have with you and what I see in the charts. And I missed this bottom back here. I missed this trading here. In hindsight, this was a great trading opportunity. I tried to do, once I realized what was going on, I attempted that same opportunity here in this area, and I just couldn't catch a break. But I was able to get in and out and did a really good job of preserving my capital, and saw that I had another opportunity right here with the CPI numbers release on October 13th, when we had revisited the bottom for a third time. And from there, because of the what I saw in the charts back here, which I will get more into in a later date, predicted this breakout here and believed that this was the start of the bull run, when everybody else thought we were going to 10,000. Then FTX happened, and I just held on through it. I didn't have an opportunity to get out, and didn't think we would be down here this long. But when we finally broke out, we broke right back up to where we were and continued with our bull run. So that's that. And I have a very interesting story to tell you about that. And I'll do that at a later time. But for now, let's get to another indicator. And I learned this on another channel, and a couple other guys on various channels use the Gaussian indicator here. And I don't have it on the daily because it's not really relevant on the daily, but it's relevant on the 5-day and the 7-day. But I like what I see with it on the 7-day. Let's see what's going on. There we go. Now, if you look, however, I don't like how others are glossing over this and not really showing what's going on with this. Okay, this, I don't put a lot of faith in this action here because this is the COVID crash. This is like the FTX as far as I'm concerned. And as far as I'm concerned, you can cut it out here all the way to over here, or somewhere over here maybe. Because actually this, around this area is when I believe that I got sick with COVID before 2020. It was in December of 19. So I think people had an idea of what was going on here. Regardless, so this isn't. I don't put a lot of faith in that. This part, yes. This part, no. So let's go back a little bit further to see what we've done in the past. When we've come through the Gaussian channel, and you can see this, I'm sure you have seen this on other channels. But once we break through the mean line of the Gaussian channel, we get up to the top of the channel, test it, come back down here to the center, to the mean line, and then if we find support, break out above. That's what we've done in the past. We've broken out above and then come back down to the top of the channel and continued onwards and upwards. Let's see what we did in the previous cycle. I can move the chart upwards. Let's go. Shrink it down. And in the previous cycle, what did we do? We broke through. We had a big breakthrough once we got through that mean line and up to the top of the channel. Continued to break upwards, came back down, tested it, and then onwards and upwards. And they each have their own time frames. Let's take a measurement of how high we went from the top of the channel. We spiked up to, now this is on the weekly chart, but we wicked up to 94%. But let's go a little bit lower here, say 48%. A lot of the price action occurred up to 48% is a reasonable expectation once you break out at the top of that channel. Now, okay, then from that 48%, we then came back down 30% to the top of the channel. Let's see what we did in the next cycle. The next cycle, I think, was a little bit more exuberant. Here, you know what, let me make this bigger. From the top of the channel, okay, it was the next one that was more exuberant. There we came up 30%. Came up 30%, and then back down 20% to the top of the channel. You know what I did? Okay. Let me do that over again. If you exclude the wicks, we came up about 25%. And then came down about 20%. So basically went up and down. But what we did is came to the top of the channel. And then we continued onward and upward. The biggest move that I did see, which is what I got confused about, was over here. As I said, this part was 75% to the top of the wick and about 46%. So we're seeing a 30 to 45% move from the top of the channel. And then, of course, we go back down from there. Come on. We move back down there, from there to the top of the channel again, 30%. So we're seeing a 20 to 30% retracement. Now that part, I do recognize. It's this rest of it that is an outlier as far as I'm concerned. So let's see where we're at right now in the Gaussian channel. And it's really, really interesting. What we did right here, we broke through the channel. We have this big wick up here. And the top of the channel is right here. It coincides with the top of this triangle right here, which is our target from the previous triangle. So there's a lot of coincidences that I see in the chart here. And then if we did move, now this is once we break out from here. So once we break out from here, and I'm kind of just doing this on the fly here. So let's say we break out maybe somewhere over here, maybe closer to over here. Let's say we go up 30%. That takes us to 42. 30 to 45% takes us to 47. 42 to 47, I think is reasonable to expect, seeing based on what we did in the past. And then so say, let's say we get to 40, 42.8. One other thing I want to do, let's move this up. Let's see where that puts us with respect to support levels and resistance levels back here. There we have a good support level right there. That's at 37. Where is 42 and 48? 42 is right there. '48's right there. There's a lot of A lot of action right here. That looks like a good area of resistance support right there. That's at 43,210. Let's draw a line there. 43,210. Well, let's look at the right about there. 43,135. So from the top of our channel, it's probably around there, up to there. That gives us a 35% move, which is, consistent with what we've seen in the past. Now, if we came down from there 20%, which is what I think we're going to do. Say we came down 24% from there. That puts us back at the top of this triangle. That's a 25% retracement. And by the way, this is September. This puts us out to September, which again seems reasonable. September's not a good month for the markets. So I see us I see us heading upwards, continuing upwards, maybe choppy and volatile, but up into this area in the coming months, and then retracing back down, possibly in September, but just to this level, not to 25,000 or 28,000 or whatever, just to this level. And another reason why is because this channel, this Gaussian channel, is going to start curving upwards and curving upwards and curving upwards. So we'll have to stop here at the top of this channel and bounce off of it as support. If we don't, then what's going to happen is that we will continue downward down over here somewhere. Yeah, well, then we could hit 25,000 over here towards, you know what, it's covered up by this, but it's end of October. Maybe we could continue back down to 25,000, see something like that. I don't think that's where we're headed though. I think we're headed continuing up here, back down to maybe 32, and continue upward from there, because the halving will be coming up in the following year. There's a lot of people. There's going to be more and more adoption and people coming into this space, and people excited because they know the having. Did I say halving like some other people have? The halving is uh, at that point won't be too far off. So well, Bitcoin will continue to move upwards, and that's what it's done in the past. Not with that as an exception. But that's what we've done. We've seen it 2 times before. We came back down and touched and continued on upwards. And you can see where we've had little movements back downwards. Which is that? Oh my God, that's very small, but you can see where we had a much larger one right here. I'm not able to draw that right. Much larger retracement right there. And yeah, again, 27%. So we might see that in the future. But again, these are short-lived, and the general direction is onwards and upwards, you know. And where might that be, onwards and upwards? Let's take another look over here, because you can also draw trend lines back here and here, and use those slopes to extend out here, and they are The first part is more like the escalator channel, and the second part of the bull run is more like the elevator channel. But they get us out into this area of towards 100, well, if we just stayed in the elevator channel, it'd be over $100,000 in April of 25. 2 years from now, where are we going to be? Oh, I'm sorry. That's $1 million. Oh my God. That's why people are calling for $1 million. It's not $100,000. That's okay. So let's see, April of 24, a year from now, $150,000. Wow. But then again, we'll probably come up here and then something will happen by then. We'll be back down here. Maybe touch the top of that, back down to 70,000. Go across back up here. 27 will be at 2 million. Bitcoin will be at $2 million. You heard it here first. Anyway, I guess I should leave off there. And let's get out of the future now and come back to where we are at today. Oops. We are back here today. And we are headed towards the top of the Gaussian channel here. Very excited about that at around $32,000. From there, hey, we could get rejected from there. That would be unprecedented according to past action, but you never know. I believe we are going to continue onwards and upwards from here. Let's go back down to the daily chart. Our Gaussian channel is gone. Where are we at right now? Just under $30,000 we're trading at. So let's see what the rest of the day brings. I'm excited about the Shanghai update. So that's where I'll leave off today. Next episode, I'll show you what I'm seeing in the altcoin market, where I think we're headed there. And remember, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This channel is for entertainment and educational purposes only. If you ever have any doubt about my credentials or who I am, all you have to do is read the title of the channel to realize that I am just that crazy triangle guy.